Now that we know how interfaces work, it's time to talk about a pretty important interface that we've already worked with. It's called the comparable interface. The comparable interface has exactly one method, compare_to, and this is the one that we've used. Here's a quick review of the compare_to method. Here's what it looks like when it's used. Object1.compare_to, and then the parameter is object2. This would return 0 if the two objects were equal. It would return negative if object1 was less than object2. And it would return positive if object1 was greater than object2. The string class, which was made for us by the programmers who created Java, has a compare_to method built into it. And that's the compare_to method that we have already used. If you need to compare objects, you need to implement the comparable class. You're basically signing a contract saying, I promise to put a compare_to method in this class. Here's some things to remember as you create a compare_to method for a class. Your compare_to method must take an object as a parameter because that's what's stated in the comparable class. Your compare_to method must also return an int, as that's also stated in the comparable class. We're going to practice this by making a compare_to method for the hero class. Feel free to follow along with this video or just watch and add this to your code later. Either way, you will need the compare_to method in your hero class for tomorrow's lab. The first thing we need to do is make sure that this class implements comparable. Since it's already implementing character, we can just add comma comparable. It's still mad at me about the get name. I guess I should fix that. Fix this. Okay. So you just add a comma and then comparable. So it's totally valid to implement more than one interface at a time. Notice that comparable is spelled C-O-M-P-A-R-A-B-L-E. Now if I hit compile, I'm going to get an error, and I can show you what that error is. Hero is not abstract and does not override abstract method compare_to. So this is the same error we were getting before when we left off getName. We just signed a contract saying yes, we are going to implement comparable, and so the compiler is upset that we don't have a compare_to method yet. That's why it's not compiling yet. So let's add it, give it what it wants. Alright, so I'm going to add a comment first, as you should too. I'm just going to write compare_to method. It doesn't have to be any more descriptive than that. That should be enough. So it's going to be public because we want to be able to use it. Remember that if we're using the compare_to method, it has to return an int. So we're going to write int and then compare_to. The other thing that I just told you before we came over here was it needs to take an object as a parameter. So that means our type for our parameter has to be object. That's a really general, kind of vague type, but it means it'll work for any class, so hero or villain or sidekick. So we're just going to leave that for now, and we're going to call it other character. Okay. Do my brackets so I don't forget. And I'm going to make a variable called answer and set it equal to 0. And I'll return answer at the end. So the first thing we have to check is if the two objects are equal, because if they are, answer just stays 0. In order to compare two heroes, we are going to compare their strengths. We don't really care if whose name comes first. That's how we compare strings, which word comes first in the alphabet. That doesn't really matter for like an adventure game. What matters is which person is stronger. We're thinking like these people are about to battle, we have to figure out who's going to win. So we're going to do if, and then we want to get our own strength. So we're going to do this.getStrength. Remember, that's how we reference ourselves. That's going to give me a number, so I can do equals equals other character dot get strength. And one more there. Okay, if that's true, I'm just going to say answer equals 0. I know it's a bit redundant, but we're going to go with it. Then we'll do an else if. I'm just going to copy and paste all of this. And we'll do let's do less than. If this dot get strength is less than other character dot get strength. Missing. There we go. We'll set answer equal to -1 because object 1 is less than object 2. Else answer will be set to 1, and then we just need to return the answer at the end. Now I'm going to compile this and just see what happens. Alright, let me show you this error I'm getting. Cannot find symbol method get strength. Okay, so this is the tricky thing about compare to. Other character is an object. Okay, so if you look in the object class, there is no get strength method. The compiler sees that this is an object, and so it looks to the object class. Well, it can't find a get strength object, a get strength method in object. So we need to cast other character. Basically, we're reminding the compiler, like, trust us, it's a character. So I'm going to put other character in parentheses. Notice how that's highlighted in blue now. And then right before other character, I'm going to put in parentheses character. That's the same way we used to cast ints as doubles and doubles and ints, but now we're casting the object as a character. So let's just see. Alright, good. So it skipped the error here and went down to this because I need to do the same thing down here. So I'm going to put other character in parentheses. Then before other character, I'm going to cast it as a character. Now if I compile it, it says it's fine. Okay, so just to recap, the reason we have to do that is we need to make it an object. The parameter has to be an object. That's what the comparable interface says. But the compiler is confused because there is no getStrength method in the object class. So before we do getStrength, we have to say, hold on compiler, just trust us, it's a character. Look there to find the getStrength. Alright, I'm going to let you test this on your own. You can use the interactions pane to create two hero objects and compare them. And then once you're satisfied that yours works, come on back to the video. Alright, if you have no other questions, it's time to start tonight's homework assignment in anticipation of tomorrow's lab. You are to make a villain class that implements character and comparable. You should name this class villain. It's really important that you spell villain correctly because tomorrow I'm going to give you additional code and we'll be using the villain class you create. So villain, I know this seems silly, but it's a legit concern. Villain is spelled V-I-L-L-A-I-N. Kind of weird. It'll save you a lot of trouble though if you spell it right in the first place. You should implement character the same way Hero did, implement comparable in a very similar way that Hero did. If you have any questions while you're working on this tonight, feel free to send me an email and let me know. Just make sure you send me your code so that I can see where you're struggling, and I'll be happy to help you out.